Everyone, welcome to Lauren's Scraplot and your weekly edition of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Lauren Urbonis and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Now today I have a very adorable card for you. It is a little bit more intense, so buckle in because you're going to need a little bit of time if you want to recreate this. It is called a double slider magnet card, and I have to give thanks to Jan B in the UK. She's a fellow demonstrator. She did this sort of card years ago, and I gained a lot of inspiration from her tutorial. And I've recreated it for you using one of our current suites. So Jan used a suite that we had, I really forget the name, but it had a great sailing sailboat and a nice lighthouse. And it was really, really gorgeous just to see that sailboat slide across the lake. And so I thought when I saw the Lily Pond Lane suite, we could make the Mama Duck do the same thing. So this suite is in our annual catalog, the Lily Pond Lane. We're going to be using the Charming Duck Pond stamp set, some of the coordinating dies, and then of course the gorgeous designer series paper. Now it is 6 by 6, but you get 4 sheets of each of the double-sided patterns, which means there's a whole lot of ducks for us to play with. Some of the ducks you can cut out using the coordinating dies from the set. Some of them you do have to fussy cut, and I will warn you the ducks that I chose today, actually just Mama Duck, the mallard duck, you can use the dies. You do have to fussy cut, but it's well worth it. It's so fun and pretty. So if you own any of the designer series paper, please join me. And if you don't, perhaps it's going to be added to your wish list, hint, hint, or maybe you have something else that you can use instead, and you can simply use this fold to get that idea of what you want to do with it. Okay, so we're going to do a bunch of prep work ahead of actually putting this card together, and hopefully it will come together smoothly. I am trying to remember exactly how to do it, so let's go. I'm gonna move that up. For our pieces, this front panel, this designer series paper, we're going to cut one piece of designer series that is 3 3/8 by 5 1/4. Then for these side panels, we're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock. I'm using Pretty Peacock. They are going to be 3 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then we will need 2 pieces of designer series paper for those panels. They will be 3 by 5 1/4. There are going to be some other pieces we need as we go. I will explain those in a minute, but let's work on the base for now. So our card base is going to be a piece of 5 1/2 by 11, and we need to do a few score marks on there. So I don't know if you can see my sticky. It's very bright. This is 5 1/2 by 11. We're going to do some scoring first at 3 1/2 all the way down. I've already done the lines so you can see them. 3 1/2, 7 1/8. So we're not at 7, we're 1 tick past. 7 1/8 all the way down. And then the last one is 10 5/8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 is 10 1/2. And 5. 10 5/8. That's what we're looking for all the way down. So just to reiterate those, 3 1/2, 7 1/8, 10 5/8. That's where we're doing all of our lines for this card. Okay, there's lots to do. Let's start with assembling a couple panels just so we have them ready. So we're going to grab those 2 designer series papers and the coordinating cardstocks, and we're just going to layer them together like so. Okay, got 2 pieces, tape on the back. You're welcome to use seal, glue, whatever you're most comfortable with, but no dimensionals. Don't dimensionalize these. I know it's tempting. Right now they're identical. We have the same things. We will differentiate between them in a few minutes. Try to get it as centered as possible. You should have just a 1/4 of an inch border all the way around. And I modified the card a little bit because I wanted the 3-inch designer series paper, because that way I could get 2 pieces, both panels, out of one 6x6 sheet. So if you look on Jan's, some of her stuff will be slightly different, but don't worry, you get the same idea. Okay, so those are our panels. What we need to make next is going to be a mechanism that helps those panels move. It's not something you guys can see. It's going to be hidden inside here, but what we use for that is some sort of plastic. Now, back when Jan made these, and back when I first tried this, we used to get plastic bags galore. You'd go to the grocery store, you'd go shopping, everywhere would give you plastic bags, and I would sit there and I would chop up my bags into strips of plastic that were about 1.5 inches by 12 inches wide. Now, my problem lately has been that we don't get plastic bags anymore, or I have to pay like 50 cents for them, but most of the time they're not even around. We have to do reusable bags. So I had to figure out a substitute that I could make a plastic 12-inch long piece out of. And what I came up with was packing tape. So I tried just using 1 roll of packing tape, and I would try and lay out 12 inches of this in one strip, and then try and lay out another right on top of it. So of course it wasn't sticky, but that did not work. So I tried stringing out 12 inches and like quickly folding it in half. Again, did not work. So let me help you. You need to buy 2 rolls of packing tape. And what you're going to do is you're going to kiss them together and make a 12-inch long strip. Now this might be interesting because I did this kind of like with one in my mouth and then like attached, so I can't do that on screen. We're gonna try this. So I'm gonna put one around my wrist here and just hold that. And then I'm gonna kiss the other one to the very edge here. You won't be able to get this perfect, and so that's why at the end you can just come along with your trimmer or your scissors and cut anything that is not even. But as much as possible, we're going to try and kiss these together. Okay, I'm going to put it in my mouth, sorry. See? You just keep them together. This does not look right. Okay, sorry, this is bad. But if you pull them at the same time, just squeeze them together, you get a nice double-sided piece. Now there is a few sticky edges. So like I said, when I'm done, all I would want to do is just take my scissors or my trimmer and cut those off. But we would keep doing this until you had a piece that was 12 inches long. Okay, I've already done that. So I'm gonna put this thing down and we're gonna just continue. We're just gonna move on, okay? This is a fun card, isn't it? Bringing us close together. Okay, here we go. So I would like to see your base on your workspace. We would like to have 1, 2, 3 large sections, and then your itty bitty one here. This needs to be facing the right-hand side of your workspace, okay? Then we're gonna take our plastic. There's no adhesive on it at the moment, and we've made sure that there's no adhesive ends. And just confirm that, okay, yes, if I rolled these over each other, there's overlap, I'm happy. So we're gonna connect these two. We're not going to squeeze super tight. You want a little bit of room for them to be able to move. But all we're gonna do is we're going to come in here and take piece of double-sided tape and rest it against the top section here. And then we will take another piece of tape and connect it here so that these two connect and they make one continuous circle, plastic circle for us. That's what we're looking for. Okay, up. I'm trying to help you see. I don't know if it's easier on brown. There we go. Okay, here we go. You can take these backings off. And then we're going to just keep this as straight as possible and line those over one another. Again, just making sure you've got a little bit of give because this is going to move back and forth like so. It's a little bit of give. And try to move it as close to the center as possible. It will shift and you can adjust it, but try to move it back and forth, okay? Now we get to start attaching our panels, okay? So this first panel we're going to take and we're going to attach it in this space here. But we don't want to attach the whole thing because otherwise it will just be stuck in the back. No one can see it. So what we want is we just want a little adhesive in the bottom of this taped area. Don't put any in the cardstock because that will stop this circle from moving. We just want 2 strips of tape hiding in the back for this to attach to, like so. Okay, so 2 strips on the bottom. And we're going to put this right up against the edge because our length is exactly the same as the card base, but you don't want to butt right up against the scored line. Make sure you've got about 1/8 of an inch buffer, top and bottom, so that this has room to move, okay? Now we're going to flip this over and we need to attach this piece to the card. Because we put adhesive on the bottom of this one, we're now going to put adhesive to the top of this one, okay? So if you made a mistake, you put adhesive on the top of the first one, you can fix it by putting it on the bottom of this one. But hopefully we're all on the same page so far. You're gonna attach that. Now, unlike the front one where we could see the designer series paper, this time we need to flip it over because when these pieces come out, it won't really work right now. Let's just pretend we want them to be facing the same way, right? So I would like you to confirm right now that both your patterns are facing the same way. And then you can go ahead and connect this onto that designer or that tape. Again, keeping in mind just a little bit of a border between the top and the bottom here. Okay. Looks great so far. You don't think so, but it looks great. We're going to attach some tabs now so that it's going to be much easier for us to pull this out and test it. So tabs can be made with basically any sort of punch that you have. You could use a circle, you can use triangle if you want, you can use anything. I'm using a punch that is new in our main catalog. It is one that's given to us as an option of purchasing as a punch or as die cuts. So if you have the die cuts, you can do the same thing. All you need to do is cut out this basic shape here. I'll show you where it is. It is on page, I was gonna say 53. It's 58, okay? I used the labeled with love punch. If you have the die cuts, you can do 3 of these at once, but you only need 1 because we're gonna cut it in half. That's the nice thing about these tabs is nobody's really seeing them. we're just using them for a function. So we're going to cut them in half and we're going to add them to the back of our little panels so it's easier for us to pull out. You don't have to do this, but it's much easier when you're trying to pull the cards. Oh, you went down too soon. There we go. Okay. So the easy thing, because we haven't connected this card at all, is you can kind of just open her back up, find the side that's not connected to the plastic, and tuck one of these underneath. Here. And on the back piece. Don't tuck it underneath this one because then it will be on top of your designer series paper. You do tuck it in the back of this. You want it hiding behind the cardstock. If I tucked it, it would be on the designer paper right now, and that would look really weird, okay? So again, the back isn't properly supporting this at the moment, but you could get the idea. Nope, it doesn't want to move. Sort of this being pulled. Let's attach this. Once it's attached, it'll move a lot smoother, okay? Here we go. So we're kind of wrapping it up like a sandwich, but this little piece, you've probably guessed, is used to close. We cannot close it on top of this working panel though, okay? So what I'd like you to do is, I know it's awkward, but just try to make this move over enough. Oh, that's why it doesn't like this bump. Make this move over out of your way enough for you to be able to see this panel needs to go in the back here. You'll need to lift this up and tuck it under, okay? So that's what you should kind of see. Put some adhesive onto this panel here. There we go. Like so. And just keep in mind, once we take this off, we need to lift and tuck. Okay. I went over a little bit. Here's my cheater's way of fixing it. You just kind of shove the tape over itself and nobody will know. Here we go. Lift that slide panel and tuck. Okay. Now our card is going to be nicely supported. So when we want to sit here and play, it's actually going to let us. It doesn't like me right now because I have my edge piece too close. There we go. Once you play with it a bit, it'll work. Okay? So leave those out for the moment because then you can see what you're doing here. We're going to grab that piece of designer series paper and start decorating the front of our card. That we do need to put on flat. I know it's tempting to put dimensionals on this, but because you want your mama duck to slide, you need this flat. If it's popped up, the magnets won't be strong enough to touch or reach each other, okay? Okay. So, ooh, that's not nice. This is so far ahead of me. I just noticed it's not nicely laid down. Come back. There we go. Let's center you a bit better. Much better. Okay, there we go. There's our beautiful pond. Now we want a mama duck who swims. This is going to be a little tricky because most of you probably don't have magnets or strong magnets on hand. So I ordered these magnets from Amazon. They are like 1/8 of an inch, super, super strong. I keep them in a case away from everything else because they could be very dangerous for kids or pets. So please, if you purchase them, just make sure to like hide them. I purchased these years ago and I haven't used them in a while. So I will try to find you a link or a name or something, but I don't have one offhand. But just look for some strong, heavy duty, like thin magnets. You want this super thin, like 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to try Mama Duck just with 2 of them here. Okay. And what I'm going to start with is I'm going to turn Mama Duck over and I'm going to add some glue dots to her back. Or I'm going to add some magnets. So I'm grabbing a glue dot and I've got a stack of 4 here. It's easy just to keep them in order. They definitely are strong. And I did this before I had nails. Okay, stick 1 to her back. Keep 2 of them there. So like leave 1 and 2. And then, yeah, the next one, I'm just gonna put the glue dot right on her back. And move the magnets over. Oh, I think I have 5 magnets here. Haha, they're so tiny. It's tricky to tell. There we go. Okay. Move the magnets. So the second stack is beside. Okay, you only need 4. 2 magnets. And put the other one in, hopefully. All right, now here's the fun part. We need to figure out where you want Mama Duck to swim, okay? So I kind of thought it was easiest to have Mama Duck starting in the middle, and then when it pulls her over, okay? So let's just see. Let's see how far she pulls. So yeah, like that, okay? Now we get to try and line up Mama Duck with her reeds, okay? So I'm going to pull this one out even more. And I'm going to put Mama Duck right here. It's about where, if I was to pull this one off, it's about where she is, okay? See, there's my magnets, okay? So we're going to take glue dots and attach them to the magnets that are still attached to Mama Duck here. Your take your pick tool is going to be very helpful. Oh, there we go. 1. A dot of glue would work too. You just need to give it time to dry. I think I used glue on these ones, so it's not as frustrating, but on a video, I want to be able to show you how this works. Okay, so I'm going to just set Mama Duck down. She's got 2 stacks of magnets. Set her down right here. Okay, now what I need to do to get her properly in place, to lift her off, and we won't ever pull out this far again. That was just kind of to show you what to do. We don't usually pull Mama Duck off the page. We usually just pull out a little bit till she's at the end. Okay, so there's Mama Duck. She's not liking that. Go back. Oh, there we go. You have to make sure she's connected to both magnets. When I connected her here, she didn't have a magnet under her. So make sure she's connected to both magnets. Otherwise, she won't swim. All right, again, gently tuck this one back. Make sure she's connected to both magnets somehow. There we go. Okay. And then she should, oh, she is, slide backwards and swim forwards. So fun. All right, now to finish the rest of the card. Should be a lot easier. You had to cut Mama Duck out from scratch. But of course, the daddy and the baby, oh, I didn't add a baby on this one. The daddy can be done with the dies. Okay, so I have got You Make Me Happy from the Charming Duck Pond. I could use Happy Birthday too. I kind of like this long sentiment. And I've cut myself just a white scrap. This scrap is like 1/4 inch by 4 inches, which is longer than I need. But if you cut it that long, then you can add really whatever sentiment you want. Okay, so I've got Pretty Peacock. I'm gonna stamp close to an edge. And then I do need to trim this just with some scissors. And I'm just gonna go straight down. Sometimes I cut things at an angle if I'm afraid I can't get it straight, but that's pretty good. Now you can use dimensionals. I know, you've all been waiting, okay? You can pop this sentiment up on dimensionals. One, two, and three. And you can put this on your card. I love this paper. I really didn't have to do anything to stamp a background. The paper was all there. I'm just gonna add my little words, pop up my mallard duck on some dimensionals. One, two, three, should be good. And add him to the edge here. And then just for good measure, because I thought it was really pretty, I am gonna throw on that little flower. If you wanted, you could cut out a little duckling. Maybe that would be cute, but I thought because it was kind of in the water, maybe a flower would be a easier alternative. And these flowers are so cute. They make adorable little lily pads. So there you go. There is your card for today. I hope you were able to enjoy it with me. If you don't own the set, it's okay. Maybe you're gonna recreate it with something else, and I would love to see what that is. So I know YouTube does not allow us to post photos, though I do appreciate a like or a comment in there. But if you go to my Facebook page, I always post these videos there. And you can add your photo in the comments on that video, and then other people can see what you've created too, because our crafting world truly is all about creating and sharing all the ideas. So thank you again to Jan for her inspiration for this, and thank you to those of you who have encouraged me to make a slider card with this duck, because we have been playing a lot with this bundle lately, and everyone still keeps coming back to like, okay, Lauren, can you make the duck swim? And I was like, yes, yes, I can. So we've done it. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you next week for another edition of Show Me How It's Done, Tuesday at noon. Bye.